Jim Ostrowski here. This is going to be fun. So, we're continuing the book bomb. I'm at an undisclosed location in the People's Republic of New York State. And, you know, in, uh, in government schools are bad for your kids, which Free the Children's the sequel, both on Amazon, both priced to sell. I take on the core sort of argument for free compulsory government schools, which is that, well, the middle class will be fine, the rich will be fine, the working class will generally speaking be fine, but the poor, need this system. So let's go right to the root of the issue. So progressivism is, of course, an irrational ideology that's meant to make the progressive feel better. And the progressive never asks, well, do these policies that make me feel better, do they actually work? So it's really up to people like me to say, do they actually work? So in government schools, I pointed out a couple of very inconvenient factoids, one of which is 20% of Americans are functionally illiterate. And another one is, they talk about, oh, I have a right to right to free education. Am I still live? I don't know. I had a glitch. It happens. Pay $19 for software. That's what happens. So I guess I'm still live. I don't know what that glitch was. Probably, the FBI jamming my signal. I call them FIB. So if we just force everybody to go, even the irresponsible parents will have to send their kids. Well, guess what? At any given time, 10% of the kids are missing. They're missing. And 20% of them are functionally illiterate. So what happens to these people? Where are they? Where'd they go? You know what? I know where they go because I work there. They go to Buffalo City Court. Buffalo City Court. Part 1. It's the arraignment part. They're getting a bachelor's. They didn't drop out. They dropped in. The bail van, by the way, is over there. I don't know if you can see it. Believe me, it's there. They don't drop out. These kids don't drop out. They drop in. To part 1, that's where you get arrested. Part 2 is when you get an appearance ticket. Part 1's for the serious crimes. So they didn't drop out. Mr. Progressive, Mr. Left Progressive, helping the poor while you make $150,000 a year teaching them when they're not even in your fucking classroom. They're in part 1 of city court. And they didn't really drop out of school. They dropped into school. They're getting a bachelor's degree in street crime. They're getting a bachelor's degree in street crime. Okay? So there you go, left progressives. There's your fucking government school. Now, and by the way, there is a section of this court that is reserved for criminals from government schools. You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. I've been a criminal defense lawyer for 38 years. And I can tell you, 99% of my clients, put a 99.9% on that, went to government school. So there you go, Mr. Left Progressive. We got to help the poor. You're really just helping your greedy old selves make $120K, retire with a 90 grand pension. For what? For this? But I'm not done yet, and I gotta take this is gonna be a little movement here, so I don't know how this works. I don't have a producer. I don't have a PR firm. There's no man behind the curtain. There's no sugar daddy. There's just me. So let's see if we can get this done. I'm going to see if I can walk down the street. Oh, this seems to be working. And after they get their bachelor's degree from part 1 of city court in street crime, they're not done. They didn't drop out. They're studying. They're studying very hard. They're working on their master's degree. And let me see if we can figure out where. And the great thing is that, it's great to have like a campus scenario. It's great to have a campus scenario because all the buildings are close together. Everybody knows where they are. So after these government school dropouts who are missing, 10% are missing, 20% are functionally illiterate. They study for their BA in street crime in city court. And then, here we go. Boy, it's cold out here. It's cold out here. So after that, boy, it's looking a little shabby. Maybe we need some more government money in this institution. Where is this? Where's the damn sign? Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. So hopefully you can see this sign. So after they get the BA at Buffalo City Court, they come here to the Erie County Holding Center, and now they're getting a master's degree. They're getting a master's degree in serious street crime. The ones who don't get bail and so on, they get a chance to see some of the really serious criminals, at lunch and breakfast at the holding center. By the way, years ago, you left progressives while you were sitting on your butts collecting your big fat teacher salaries. I was out taking a tour of the holding center because they had inhumane conditions, and I was part of a lawsuit to clean up the holding center years ago in federal court. So you don't have to take notes. This isn't school. You don't have to take notes. So after they get the bachelor's, these government school dropouts, the people who aren't there, 10% are missing at any given time. Universal free education. And the 20% of adults who are functionally illiterate who came out of these godforsaken daytime juvenile detention centers. So they get the BA, part 1 of city court. After they get sometimes they get a bail bond. The van was down the street. And then we've already seen that they then go to the Erie County Holding Center, where they pick up their master's degree in crime. And then, I gotta go a bit of a ways, but so they don't stop there. I mean, they're very dedicated. See, if you go to a government school and you're illiterate, you're never there, and you don't learn anything, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to go into the crime world. And what's the skill that you have? What are the lucrative options in the world of crime? Well, one of them is selling drugs, and in a way, that's you can make the most money, I suppose, in selling drugs, and that takes what's the skill? What's the skill it takes? Well, one of the skills is, I did a column on this article about this years ago. One of the skills in the people, I've had debates with economists. Well, why are drugs so expensive? They say, well, that's easy. It's the high price of drugs compensates you for the risk of being jailed, the risk of being jailed. And, you get the highest sentences in federal court because that they deal with the biggest amounts of drugs, the drugs that cross international borders and so on. And so that's why drugs are so expensive. And who's willing to take that risk? If people say, well, the war on drugs is, thanks, guy. There's nobody on the street, and the guy's like, can't get out of my way. So people say, well, the war on drugs is racist. Well, it's racist in effect. Let's all agree on that. It's racist in effect. And why is that? Well, because the poor often minorities who get involved in it, come out of the government schools with no skills. They weren't even there, 10% of the time. And 20% of the ones who show up become functionally illiterate anyway. And so what are their options? What are their options? They're not prepared for life. Sitting in the classroom 7 hours a day, smoking marijuana before and after class. This is not, you're forced to be there. You're in a classroom with the people making $125,000, whether they educate you or not. And so you're desperate. You don't have a lot of options. And too many of these people fall into the drug trade. And I've been fighting against the war on drugs for years, and for obvious reasons that I'm talking about now. So just back to the point, and then we'll wrap it up. Lots of events later. The book party's tonight at 8 o'clock. Wanaka Grill, Hamburg. So they get, just to review, class, don't take notes. They get the BA in street crime from part 1 of city court, unless they can get bailed out by the bail bondsman who's constantly parked there. And then they graduate to the Erie County Holding Center, and then they get their master's in crime. And then, the most ambitious ones, they go on. They don't just drop out. They're not content with a master's. They want to they want to go a little higher. And thank you, guys, slowing it down. Frank, appreciate it. Thank you. There's some courtesy left in the world. So some of these people are so ambitious, they get really into the drug trade, desperate, don't have any better opportunities, willing to take that big risk for the big payoff. And so what happens? They get a PhD. And all these, it's a great campus. All these buildings are clustered together. It's a great campus. So they get their PhD at the federal courthouse. I'm blocking it with the flagpole. I don't want to get too close. The feds, they don't have a sense of humor. I hope you can see that. That's the federal court behind me. The Robert H. Jackson. He was the prosecutor at Nuremberg. Robert H. Jackson, United States Courthouse. So, folks, that's where they get their PhD in drugs. So so we're really just saying here, let's look at the actual consequences of this policy of mandatory free education. It doesn't serve the poor. It doesn't serve minorities. It creates a permanent criminal class. And the main beneficiaries of it are the people who teach and the administrators. And in the book, we talk about the salaries. I don't have the page bookmarked, but $100,000 salary, $100,000 pension. Those are the people who benefit, and those are the people who give you all the bullshit about how much they care. So what's the solution? The Free the Children movement. The Free the Children movement. Get it on Amazon. Come to the book party at 8 o'clock. Lots more. Isn't this fun, guys? Have you ever had this much fun?